Annyeonghaseyo, hello everybody, welcome to today's video. I'm Nicolas Bringuier and today we are going to discuss how you can improve the quality of your practicing. But first of all, what does it really mean, practicing? What is the main difference between performing and practicing? When I'm performing, the time flows only in one direction, forward. I cannot go back, I cannot correct myself, I have to go through. When I'm practicing, I have a certain amount of time where I can change something in my playing. And that's the most important thing. Practicing means changing. Practicing also means trying out, experimenting, trying out something new you've never done before. And it's getting some new ideas so that you have more options afterwards in your performance. So that's the first tip. The second tip I would give you, and you surely already heard it, but I will explain why is it so important, is practice slow. Why? Just because practicing slow, it's like looking something through a microscope. It just gives you some much more information and it allows yourself to hear much better what you are doing. Unfortunately, there is so much time we waste because we repeat mindless without really trying to hear, hey, what do I want to change? So I would quote a story the great Leon Fleischer taught us. He sadly passed away some few months ago, but I think he was one of the most extraordinary teachers. And he said every musician should be three persons at the same time. So let's say person A, person B, person C. Person A is the mastermind. Person A is the brain. He is planning how this piece should sound. Person B is struggling with technical problems. Person B is the one really playing on this moment, struggling with fingering, struggling with many kind of difficulties. So person B is the body. Person C is the judge. Person C is hearing something and he has to say, hey, is it really what person A intended to do? Is it really the way it should sound? And of course, it's not something A, then B, then C. When we are practicing, all these three persons should engage in a dialogue. So, now let's go to the tip number 3, and is set yourself some goals. Don't go and just without any special plan and play over and over. My best tip is write down your goals and then check if you accomplished what you wanted. Perhaps just learn one phrase, memorize one section, correct this difficult passage, but you have to be precise. You are the one who knows what you need to change. Okay, let's go now to the number 4, and it's something perhaps for some more advanced players, and it's, I say, separate the elements in the music, not just the hands, left hand, right hand, but every music is based on 3 main elements: a melodic element, a bass line, and a harmonic element, which is usually in the piano between the 2 hands. And that's why when you practice, don't just think accompaniment and right hand. No, it's 3 elements. And you have to find the balance between them. So that's why with slow practicing and hearing, you can adjust. Usually, many people tend to play too much in the middle. So the harmonic is destroying your melodic line. Many people also forget to practice separately the bass line. So music without bass is like a house without ground. So now let's go to my tip number 5, and is sing all the melodic lines in every phrase. Always the first question should be, what is the melody? And the melody is what you can sing. So sometimes it's quite, you will say, hey, but look, I am playing, for example, I will take the first Chopin etude. So is a melody here. What can I sing? The bass line. That's the main melodic line. Then, number 6 is that in every phrase, in every section, and for the whole piece, search for the climax, for the highest point. It's not just the loudest, but it's also the most emotional moment. Within each phrase, a phrase should be always like a wave, the shape of a wave. So it's going up, going down. Sometimes it's going very quickly up and very slowly down. Sometimes opposite, it's just the climax is coming on the end. But I think that's really what makes the difference between a great interpretation and just an average good one. Rachmaninoff himself once said after a concert, someone came to him and said, "Wow, bravo maestro, it was such a great performance today." And Rachmaninoff said, "No." So the guy didn't understand why. He said, "The climax came too late." And Rachmaninoff said that in every piece there should be only one big climax, is the moment where the whole attention of the public is focused, the moment where you really capture the attention. And I think there is, of course, a kind of hierarchy you have to do. The big climax for the whole piece, then in every section, and then in every phrase. And that, let's come to the tip number 7, connected to this one, is try to get a kind of map of the dynamics for the whole piece. For example, there are some Debussy prelude where the highest dynamic is mezzo piano and the lowest is for piano. So it means that, I would say again, like the ground and the roof in a house. So if the roof is just mezzo piano, that you have a lot of space downstairs to the for piano, and I should hear this difference. Sometimes there are some pieces, like say from Ligeti Etudes, you have some for piano and for forte, so then you have a very large amplitude of difference. But always try to be conscious, like in a space, where are you? And don't stay always in the middle. Yes, that's something most people tend to do when there is no dynamic written. I always ask students, so what is your dynamic? Always answer mezzo forte. But there is no reason when nothing is written that it should be mezzo forte. You have to decide where you start and when you go up. Number 8 is something more specific for what I told before, person C, the one who is hearing what we just did, and how he's gonna to decide, this person C, of what he heard was especially interesting, was inspired. Well, it's coming with how you develop your taste. And not only your taste for music, but for arts in general. So I recommend that for every piece you play, try to find a connection with a literary text. It can be a poem, it can be a short text, whatever you like, who inspires you written. Make a connection with visual art. It can be a painting, it can be a photography, something from a film, from a movie. And make a connection with something which happened in your own life. And I think that's what makes the interpretation really personal, that you can engage emotionally with the piece you are playing. So my tip number 9 is also consider practicing without piano, without the instrument. Practicing is also reading about the composers, listening some other pieces he composed, listening some other pieces from other composers who he connected to the piece you are playing. And this is also a whole amount of time who is not directly spent on the piano, but who will help you to develop your interpretation. And my last tip for today is record yourself. Now we have great technical possibilities, and that's the only way you can really judge if what you are playing, what you have done, is if you are really pleased with it. And it's also the basis for step-by-step improving your playing. Thank you so much. Annyeonghaseyo, and see you next time.